Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. Welcome to the Proud Corner, where today I'm continuing my look back at number one songs, and it takes a very special kind of despicable to hit number one on the Billboard charts. We went through the 70s a couple weeks ago, went through the 80s last week, and now we're into the 90s. Oh boy, the decade started. It started with Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise, and the decade ended with Santana and Rob Thomas Smooth. So you see where the decade went. Unlike previous decades, they kind of changed the rules of the Billboard charts so that songs could be on the number one placement a little bit longer. So during the 70s and 80s, you had a lot of one-hit wonders that only lasted like 1 week on the charts. You don't get that so much. This decade yielded 180 number one songs, and here are the worst of them, man. I'm going by year this time because it just seems like the decade got progressively worse and worse as time went on, so that's how I'm going to do it. That's how I'm going to rank them. So I guess in number 10, 1990. Oh, the worst number one song in 1990 was clearly Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. This abomination spent 1 week at the top of the charts in November of 1990. Dude, man, I had the audacity to claim he wrote the song. Of course, he got sued and they had to change the songwriting credit, but what a joke. I met that guy right after the song hit number one. He came to the store. He pulled up to the Foot Locker in Bayside on a yacht. No wonder that guy was broke. Oh, yeah. Some other songs that were number one in 1990, Black Velvet. Oh, man, I hate that song. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul. Vogue, Madonna, and Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi. Don't get a whole lot of rock and roll songs on the top of the charts in the 90s, so that was one notable one. Let's go to 1991. Oh, we're spoiled for choice on this year, man. But I'm going with Set Adrift on Memory Bliss by PM Dawn, taking a perfectly serviceable Spandau Ballet song and totally destroying it. It was awful. It spent 1 week in November at the top of the charts, and I never liked it. There's a lot of garbage in 1991, man. When a Man Loves a Woman was number one. Oh, yeah, we love you, Michael Bolton. No, not really. Black or White, Justify My Love, another great Madonna song. Just like 1990, there were a lot of 1 week number ones. The rules changed in 92, so we had a whole lot less of that, and things got even worse as a result. 1992, oh man, it yielded one of the worst songs of all time. I'm going with Right Said Fred and I'm Too Sexy. Oh, this thing spent 3 weeks at the top of the chart in February, and I just hated it. I never liked it. There were only 12 number ones in 1992, so the things had definitely changed. No artist had 2 number ones in 1992, but some of the other chart toppers included Mr. Biggs, To Be With You. Okay, that's a cool song. Jump by Criss Cross. So, 10 years earlier, Van Halen topped the charts with a song called Jump, so why not Criss Cross? Baby's Got Back. Oh, I don't care what you say, man. That riff is awesome. I love it. End of the Road by Boyz II Men. Man, Boyz II Men just completely dominated the charts in the 90s. And I Will Always Love You by Whitney also hit number one. Let's go to 1993, and things just get progressively worse here, boys and girls, as evidenced by my selection for 1993. The worst number one song of that year was absolutely Informer by Snow. Informer, I lick you boom boom now. Just terrible. It spent 7 weeks at the top of the chart in March and April of 1993. Just bad, just really bad. But, we had some other songs we could have gone with. How about A Whole New World? Oh, Regina Belle and Peebo Bryson. Can't Help Falling in Love. What was that? UB40. Dream Lover. What was that? Mariah. And I'd Do Anything for Love. But I won't do that for Meatloaf, one of the few rock songs to make the top of the charts in the 90s. Hey, let's go to 1994, where things just aren't looking any better at all. And the worst number one song in 1994 was absolutely Lisa Loeb and 9 Stories with Stay, I Missed You. Oh, her and that awful song, those stupid glasses. Yeah, it came off of a decent movie. Reality Bites was actually a movie I enjoyed quite a bit, but that song, I never liked it. I never liked her, never liked the shtick, never liked the whole outfit she was doing. It was just a joke. Didn't like it. Beats out some real garbage here, man. All for One by Sting, Bryan Adams, and Rod Stewart. That thing should have never happened. The Sign, oh, Ace of Base. Yeah, that's a great song. Forget about it. Little Bump and Grind, hit number one. All for One, a big, big hit with I Swear. And then again, Boys to Men just dominating the charts with songs like I'll Make Love to You and On Bended Knee. Either one of those could have made the charts because they're terrible. 1995, let's go. Oh, yeah, things get weirder and weirder. And I've got two songs at number one in 1995 by TLC. But, I'm going with Creep. Waterfalls is a better song. Creep is a terrible song. It's a song about a girl that gets cheated on. So she decides she's going to do the cheating next. And her next relationship is awful. I guess Left Eye didn't even want to do it. This was their first of 4 number ones, 2 in 95 and then 2 again in 96. But 1995 had some terrible songs. Let's go over a couple of these terrible, awful number ones. Take a Bow by Madonna. Awful. This Is How We Do It. Montel Jordan, kind of like it, not gonna lie. Waterfalls, TLC. Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio. Mariah Carey with Fantasy. And Boys to Men and Mariah with One Sweet Day. Yeah, Boys to Men and Mariah Carey just dominated the 90s. Let's look at 1996. Could it be any worse than that? Oh, yeah, it could be. Oh, man. How about Macarena by Los Del Rio? This terrible, terrible song spent 14 weeks at the top of the charts. VH1 concluded that this was the number one-hit wonder of all time. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's pretty bad. Other number one hits that I thought about for 1996 included Always Be My Baby by Mariah. Of course, Mariah. The Crossroads by Ohio's own Bone Thugs and Harmony. No Diggity by Blackstreet. I actually like that song. Sorry. And Unbreak My Heart by Toni Braxton. Terrible, awful 1997. Woo, yeah, 1997 is the year the world got introduced to the Spice Girls, and I'm going with Wannabe as the worst number one song of that year. It spent 4 weeks at the number one position. They're only number one in the U.S. They had a bunch in the U.K., but this was the only one that hit number one here. I actually met Mel B. I got a Spice Girls story that maybe I'll tell one day. Nothing special. It's not like my LaToya story, but it's a good one anyway. Other number ones from 97 that, got my attention, want to talk about a little bit. Hypnotize, right? Was that Biggie? M-Bop. Oh, M-Bop Hansen at number one. I'll Be Missing You, Puff Daddy. More Money, More Problems, Notorious B.I.G. Honey. Terrible song by Mariah. And the year ended with Candle in the Wind. Elton John redoing that song for some reason. Just awful, trying to make money. I guess he was friends with the princess. Whatever. 1998. Oh, bear with me. I know this is really painful. I know this really hurts your sensibilities to go back and relive some of these awful things. The 90s were just terrible. We didn't even have novelty songs to make fun of. This is just an awful decade, man. Terrible, terrible. 1998, the prize goes to, and the Oscar goes to Will Smith. Slap that boy. He gets it with Getting Jiggy with It. Oh, this terrible song spent 3 weeks at number one off his debut solo album. I guess Jazzy Jeff was kicked to the curb by this point, and it's just awful. It's a terrible song. It uses a bunch of samples like Sister Sledge and stuff like that. Doesn't save the song. Other terrible songs from 1998 included Nice and Slow by Usher, terrible. Celine Dion with My Heart Will Go On. All My Life by Casey and JoJo. Too Close by Next. The biggest selling single in 1998 was Too Close. I don't even remember it, man. I went back and listened to it. I'm like, man, I barely remember that song. It was number one for like 5 weeks. The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica. Two girls that really, really tore up the charts at the end of the 90s. 2 Weeks by Bare Naked Ladies. Hey, a rock song. And Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing, hit number one. So there were a couple of rock songs in 98, but it was a terrible year. And finally, it just gets worse and worse, man. It's just ridiculous. 1999, one of the worst years in the history of music. But you got to remember, the 90s were the best year for pre-recorded music in history. Sales were through the roof. And then something happened like 2000, 2001. Oh yeah, Napster and all that kind of download stuff, the piracy thing, killed the industry in ways nobody could have seen. But 1999, one of the peak years for pre-recorded music, but you wouldn't know by the nonsense at the top of the chart. And I'm going with, I got two. I couldn't pick between the two. There are two songs from 1999 that are so bad that I'm just going to call it a tie. First, I'm going to talk about Cher's Believe. Just a terrible song. It ruined music. I hate all the, that was one of the first times you ever heard like the pitch correct type of stuff in the vocals, and absolutely terrible. I hate it. It's her fault. Everything that's happened since, it's your fault, Cher. And how do you leave out Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca? Just an awful song that I absolutely abhor. But man, 1999 just had a whole bunch of garbage, including Britney Spears' first number one song, Baby One More Time. Brandy had another number one with Have You Ever. Monica had another number one with Angel of Mine. TLC had two number ones, including Scrubs. Bills, Bills, Bills by Destiny Child. Genie in a Bottle by Christina Aguilera, and then the decade ended with Smooth. And wow, what an awful decade, man. Those top songs are just terrible. Going through the list during the 70s and 80s, I could have put together a really great mixtape of number one songs from either of those decades. Man, I don't think I could find maybe 5 or 6 songs in the entire decade of the 90s that I actually like the number one track. It's just crazy. It was awful. So bad that I don't even know if I want to look into the 2000s here. Let me know if I should continue this series and go into the awful 2000s, or if we just should leave it here and maybe go back and look at the 60s. I don't know. We'll do whatever. Tomorrow I'm thinking about looking at Rolling Stone's terrible ranking for the 100 best album covers of all time. And then we're going to start doing a bunch of Charisma Records type of content. Looking forward to August, which is going to be Charisma Month, where we're going to be really dialing in and drilling down on all things Charisma and Scando Prog. You guys know how much I love that. Anyway, I'll see you punks soon. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save King Chucky the third. He's the third Chucky. Yes, he is. Don't get your head chopped off, Chucky. I know you're not feeling so good, so come on over to America. We got some good doctoring over here. We'll take good care of you, and we got prayer warriors. Oh, yeah, they're standing by. Oh, King Chucky needs some help. I'm going to pray for him. Okay, that sounds good to me. All right, then we're going to drink some poison, and you know what's going to happen next? We're going to dance with some snakes. Woo, yeah, dance with them snakes, and King Chucky will be just fine, because the Spirit of the Lord will protect him, just like it's protected me for 61 years. I love you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.